Today we're talking about how difficult it is to learn Python. I'll be honest, it's been so long since I've learned my first programming language that it's a little bit difficult to answer this question, because for me, as a very experienced developer, I can pick up a new programming language pretty quick, and especially one like Python that's pretty easy to learn relative to other programming languages. Now, Python, as I just said, is one of the easier languages to learn. It's dynamic, it's interpreted, it's fairly clean syntax, and it's nice to look at, and there's some pretty sane rules about how to write Python. So there's that whole sort of space of like, okay, it is not as difficult or confusing as languages like C++, so in general, Python is easier. It's a good teaching language, and you can build a lot of stuff with it, so that's cool. The other thing is that right now, there are so many amazing resources for learning Python that it makes the whole process much easier. There are literally thousands of courses on learning Python, and so many of them are good that, yeah, you can find the resources and learn it, which is a lot different than, 20, 30 years ago, when if you wanted to learn how to program, the tools were harder to find. You'd have to go track down books at your library or local bookstore that were like super thick, like 600 pages. You have to work through those examples. It's really tough, and that's not, that's completely different than what you have now, where someone will walk you, like you can watch everything they type in onto the screen and type it in for yourself, which, by the way, is one of the best ways you can learn Python or any other programming language, is as you are seeing the examples on screen or reading them in a tutorial, type them out yourself and run them so that you actually get the code under your fingers. And that's kind of really the most important part of learning how to program with Python or any other language, is you want to get the feel of programming, which is, taking an idea in your head, understanding the syntax, the commands in this, code basically, and typing that out. And when you get to the point where you can fluently think of an idea and type it onto the screen, and then it starts to work, and that thing speeds up and you get better at it, that is the magic of programming. And that is the skill that you're ultimately developing, is taking thoughts and ideas and turning them into code. And that applies to whether you're with Python or not. Now, I personally think that Python is one of the best languages for taking your ideas and then turning them into code, because it's so straightforward. It can be simple, but it does take time, it does take energy, and it does take practice. And ultimately, it takes a commitment on your part. So if you are committed to learn to code, there are so many resources out there that I don't believe it will be difficult for you.